TBC Classic Phase 2 is almost here, so the time has come to make sure you know your class's best in slot gear for Phase 2. Today, we're looking at rogues. As usual, I've created a spreadsheet with the best in slot item name, the next best alternative, where the items come from, the gems and enchants you'll want to use, and a link to the Wowhead database. I'll be updating the spreadsheet as I make my way through each class, so feel free to share with friends and guildies, and if you spot something that I've missed, drop a comment down below so I can update as needed, and finally, like the video to help me out, and of course, subscribe for more TBC Classic content. With that said, let's get to it, starting with the Tier 5 set. The ideal setup for your Tier 5 items are to collect the helm from Lady Vash, chest from Kel'Thas, legs from Fathom Lord, and gloves from Leotheris. There is an alternative priority with the chest and shoulder slots, so we'll cover that in a moment. You're going to want 3 Glinting Noble Topaz, 1 Relentless Earthstorm Diamond, 1 Shifting Night's Eye, and 3 Rigid Dawnstones, and the enchants are Ferocity on the head from Exalted with Cenarian Expedition, chest exceptional stats, Never Cobra leg armor, and gloves superior agility. So the shoulders and chest. The shoulder is linked with your chest slots, and you have 2 versions to run. The first and ultimate BIS to run is the shoulder pads of the Stranger with the Death Mantle chest guard. In the event you obtain the Death Mantle shoulders instead, you're going to want to prioritize the Bloodsea Brigand's vest instead of the Tier 5 chest. So the Tier 5 shoulders drop from Void Reaver in TK, and the Tier 5 chest drops from Kel'Thas, and the shoulders of the Stranger drop from Hydros, with the Bloodsea Brigand's vest dropping from Fathom Lord. You'll want 2 Rigid Dawnstone, 1 Shifting Night's Eye, and 1 Glinting Noble Topaz. For enchants, it's either the Saffron one from Nax or Inscription of Vengeance from Exalted with the Aldor for the shoulders, and the chest with exceptional stats. Onto the neck. The Choker of Vile Intent for 24 badges remains your best choice for Phase 2, with the Pendant of Mayhem from Kel'Thas being very similar but not worth aiming for or taking from a class that will benefit more. Next up, we have the Cloak. Surprisingly, the Drape of Dark Reavers from Moran in Karazhan is on par with the Wilder Cloak. It's possible to squeeze a drop more DPS from the Wilder Cloak with clever gem switching, but it's probably not worth wasting your time on. And make sure you enchant with greater agility. Braces. Van Braces of Ending from Solarian takes the top spot, with the Nightfall wrist guards from Epoch Hunter in Heroic Hillsbrad in 2nd place. It's also not a bad idea to keep the Spy Mistress wrist guards on hand to swap to whenever you need extra hit as you're gearing up throughout Phase 2. And you're going to want to enchant braces with Assault. The Belt. The Belt of 100 deaths from Vash is your absolute BIS until Sunwell. Your alternative, and nowhere near as powerful, is the crafted leatherworking belt of the Deep Shadow. Because it's going to cost you Nether Vortex to craft, I would recommend you hold out until you get the 100 deaths. You'll want 1 Glinting Noble Topaz and 1 Shifting Night's Eye for gems. Boots. Once again, Kara Loot stays strong with the Edgewalker boots from Morose taking the top spot. In 2nd place are the boots of Utter Darkness, but considering the Kara boots are BIS until Black Temple, I recommend you hunt Morose down. You'll want a Glinting Noble Topaz and a Rigid Dawnstone for your gems, with Enchant Boots Cat Swiftness. The rings. Your 2 best rings are the Ring of Lethality from Hydros and the Band of the Ranger General from Kel'Thas. Your alternatives are the 1000 Marks and Garona Signet from Karazhan. Next up, the trinkets. DST from Gruul and the Warp Spring Coil from Void Reaver in Tempest Keep are your best choices. The next best alternative is the Bloodlust Brooch for 41 badges, and whilst the Tsunami Talisman trinket when it procs is better than the Bloodlust Brooch, waiting for the proc itself is a variable that in my opinion you shouldn't really bother with. Let another class who needs it more take the talisman and focus on your BIS. Main hand. The Talon of Azshara is your BIS choice. There are so many choices for alternatives, and most will think about the Dragonmaw Blacksmith Mace as your second choice, which is entirely up to you, but it still does not compare to the Talon of Azshara. I recommend going for the reduced cost PvP gear from Season 1, which will be purchasable via honor points, as it will be cheap and a guaranteed way to get a main hand sword if you need an alternative or a temporary upgrade. Enchant with Mongoose. Offhand. Latro's Shifting Sword comes in 1st place with high value. This is one of the rare times where I'm going to be advertising against the absolute BIS as your first choice. The Shifting Sword can be farmed from normal BM, which is a lot easier to obtain versus the Season 2 Arena Sword for most players. The Arena Sword is slightly better, so grab it if you can, as it is your BIS for Phase 2, and of course, enchant with Mongoose, the ranged weapon. For your ranged weapon, the Arcanite Steam Pistol from Alar in TK is the top choice, with your faction's respective Hellfire Exalted rep weapon in 2nd place. Or you could use the Sun Fury Bow from Prince and Kara if you have it, but bear in mind the pistol is only a slight upgrade. Whack a stabilized Eternium scope on and you're good to go. And with that, it's the end of the video. Drop a like to help out the video and subscribe to the channel for more TBC Classic content, and check out my other YouTube channels if you're interested in Lost Ark or live streams where I'm practicing hardcore classic leveling in preparation for Cargo's Mortal Raid 1 Life Race to Ragnaros event, which will be popping off on Classic Fresh when it releases. Take care, and I'll see you next time.